let's begin. A number of people have asked me what I'm intending to do with this black car that is behind me here. The intention was to try to get it track ready. I purchased it from a fella who had kind of stalled on a project. He had been replacing the valve seals on it, I'm assuming, because it was smoking. The car has 203, I think, thousand miles on it. Overall, it's not in terrible shape, although there's been a couple of questionable cosmetic choices. Those shouldn't affect its trackability. But after a couple of incidents on track this year, specifically I saw two very nicely prepped Miatas end up in the tire wall. I came to the conclusion that I was not really interested in seeing that one in the wall. And you could say, well, just dial it back, and there's a certain truth to that, but if you're not exploring your limits, you're not really learning either. So that's why we've got this here now. So the idea is to, number one, assess what is going on with the car. It's not running currently, so step one is to get it running so that I can take it down the street, make sure that it more or less goes in a straight line, that everything functions as it kind of should. And then after that, figure out what needs to happen. So I'll turn this around and we'll see if we can get just maybe a before picture of what's going on with it. All right. So I had mentioned previously that it was kind of a stalled project, that the individual who had this car previously was doing the valve seals, and that kind of stopped. So the cams were out of position, so I was able to put all of the cam caps back. Fortunately, Mazda is kind enough to number them for me. So they're all back in position and they're all properly torqued. And I was waiting on actually that tension spring right there in order to get the vehicle mechanically timed. So it's currently mechanically timed. Now it's just a matter of reassembling everything, and hopefully everything is here. Now, the previous owner was diligent enough to attempt to bag everything and label everything as to where things should go, but there's a couple things that are missing, which isn't a real big deal. Like, for example, the cam angle sensor right here that affects your timing on the Miata. There was a bolt that was missing in action. Now, it's possible I'll find that later when I go to assemble other things, but we've got one in its place that will function for now. And again, we're kind of looking for minimal functionality at this point, just to get to the point where we can actually assess what's going on. There's a number of, just little things, like, for example, the coolant fan, specifically this one is for the air conditioning side. Yeah, that's no good. And if you follow over here, there is a matching chassis side. So, that's real simple. We can get that connector on there and make things work. So that's no issue. One of the other, can't get the car inspected until it's done kind of issues. Apparently there was a problem with the motor, headlight motor. So these LED lights were put in its place. The sealed beams came with the car, but the mounting hardware did not. So I'm going to have to acquire that. The headlight bezels were cut to allow for these headlights to fit in its place. That's a cosmetic thing. The lights are down most of the time. I'm probably not going to mess with that. Other things, we're missing a windshield washer bottle, which is disappointing, but we're also missing the hoses. And you say, hey, there's wires hanging out from where the headlight washer nozzles are, and that's because we've got these things right here which actually light up if you apply power to them. Yeah, those are gonna go. And when I say those, I mean that one is going to go because its buddy is already gone, not by me. So that's going to be something that I gotta order. These mirrors, not OEM, and they kind of flop around. So other than being hideous, I don't think that's a big problem, but I'll need to get that sorted out to figure out how to make the flop go away. Purple is a theme on this car. We've got a purple roll bar, which is Plastidip, so you can kind of, pick off a little bit. There's a purple shift knob. There's a purple steering wheel. I'm gonna try to put I've got a spare steering wheel and airbag that came out of the blue car, and I'm gonna see if the airbag system works, because that's one of the things that needs to be fixed for inspection. It's missing a glove box. That's probably not going to get fixed anytime soon. Maybe down the road. We'll see. What else? Oh yeah, we'll get to that. The trunk lid. Interesting to me. This had at one point a luggage rack on it, and all of the luggage rack mounting holes are here. But evidently they leaked and allowed for water to get into the trunk lid anyway, and eat that away. A replacement trunk lid shouldn't be too much. Again, this is not an issue for inspection, so it's not going to get fixed priority. Other things that you can see, maybe you can see that these tail lights have a very thin coating of black Plastidip on them. That's for the kind of blacked out look. That's going to go. The front turn signals were done similarly, because why would you want anybody to see what you're doing? Yeah, right there you can see that that's kind of grayed or blacked out, maybe, in comparison to this one. I found that engine degreaser takes that off with a little bit of elbow grease. We've got snow tires on the car currently. Obviously you're not going to go on the track with snow tires. Yeah, that doesn't spin nearly as freely as I'd like, but I believe that's because the rotors are rusted up. Let's see, what else? The door's got a bit of an oopsie. Not going to worry about that. Hey, those seats look familiar. Yeah, this car came with some Bride replica race seats that I thought was going to be helpful. Turns out that unless you're like a 28 or 30 waist and very tiny. You're not going to fit in those. So I did not fit in those. When I put the spark hose in the blue car, I put the brown seats, the tan seats in here. You know, we've got a bunch of things in here that, of course, you can't really see, but there's a number of things that are questionable wiring. Yeah. So we're gonna have to sort that out. But all in all, you know, things on this car that you would expect, like for example, you know, right here where they rust out, it looks pretty good. This car's been repainted once, but you know, the noises that it makes are appropriate metal noises. And of course I don't have a light with me. Let's change that. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. So here we go. This is what I was talking about with regards to the questionable electronics. Looks like we've got a strip of LEDs there that I'm willing to bet glow purple, but we'll find out. I've got the cover for that, so we should be able to put that back up in there without any trouble after I get all that, again, questionable wiring, unknown wiring out of there. Let's see. Pedal covers, I've got some. I'm not worried about that. What the heck is that white box above the dead pedal? Okay. Alright, but you come back here to the wheel wells, and a little bit of rust there, but that looks just like surface rust. I'm not too terribly concerned about any of that. Well, that doesn't look great. Yeah, that doesn't look great. That's alright. Let's see what else. I don't know if you can see back there, but the exhaust has the oxygen sensor just zip tied to that exhaust hanger. So that indicates to me that that O2 sensor is dead, which is disappointing. But I believe I have a spare. What else? What else? Oh, yeah. The car's going to need a catalytic converter to pass inspection. 'Cause right now it's just got a test pipe in it. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, you know. This car's a 97. It's got a little hole in the top right here. I don't know if you can see that. So that needs to be fixed. Yeah, the car's a 97. So, you know, what do you expect? What do you expect for a 22-year-old car? So we'll see. Alright, stay tuned. So we got our first bit of excitement here. The bolt for the lower cover was broken. The sleeve that the cover sits on, I don't know if you can see that, maybe, but it's yeah, it's in there. So I tried to remove the sleeve from its position here, and the bolt just snapped deeper. So we're going to try to drill that out, and then tap it and see what we get.